Again, hello. Welcome to Hatty Waiver Wire Guru. Getting ready to go to week 10. Almost through the bye weeks. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're picking up some guys here to fill in those gaps. And then also for the injuries, of course. So, if you need a lot of picks, go back to previous videos. Those are definitely worth going back to. There's lots of picks in there. Lots of people worth picking up and thinking about. So, first we'll start with quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends. Quarterbacks are first. First guy I want you to watch is Matt Moore down in Miami. I'm not very excited about him. There's a lot of quarterbacks that are kind of bottom of the barrel quarterbacks out there. But Matt Moore would only be somebody for 2 QB leagues, and you have to have a quarterback on bye. But he's kind of the best of the worst. So I hope that helps you. The best, I think, that you'll see on waiver wires, I talk about him frequently, is Andy Dalton. You're probably tired of me talking about him, but every time I talk about him, he throws up a good week. And him and A.J. Green are connecting every week. He's a wonderful spot starter through the bye weeks and on a lot of waiver wires. So definitely consider Andy Dalton. I mean, 6-1. That's incredible. He's doing an incredible job. Let's move on to running backs. You can watch Chris Ivory from the Saints. We're still looking at Ingram's heel being out a couple more weeks. Ivory, Pierre Thomas, Darren Sproles. There's a lot of opportunity because New Orleans has a very nice offense, but you can only expect about 10 touches from him, and he does have touchdown potential, but he's just one of those guys for bye week fillers, so that's why I have him in the watch list. And when you look at a lot of people that I watch, they're also for deep leagues too, so that's kind of a deep spot starter, but he's a watch. Next, we can move on to Donald Brown. Carter got benched after a fumble, so Brown gets put in at running back in Indianapolis, but I'm not very excited about many of Indianapolis's running backs, for that matter. So, Carter, Adai, Brown, Carter is still in the mix for sure, but, I wouldn't get too excited about any Indianapolis running backs. So I'm just watching the situation. And then finally is Brandon Jacobs. Talked about him last week. I hope you picked him up. We're able to use him through Ahmad Bradshaw's injury. They're talking about Bradshaw coming back next week, but I'm skeptical. So that's why Jacobs is a watch for me, because if Bradshaw sits another week, you can start Jacobs for sure. All right? Move on to spot starters. The first one is Roy Helu out of Washington. Helu, it's Shanahan. It's rolling the dice because you never know who he's going to start. It could be Helu one week, Terrain another week, Tashard Choice. You don't know. But right now it's Helu. He looked good. He carried the full workload and produced well, and that bodes well for next week. Okay? So you can gamble on him next week. Next, we talked about him last week. He did not produce very well, and he's not amazing. It's Chris. Last name is impossible, but it's Ogbonnaya. That's his last name. So Chris Ogbonnaya gets the start again in Cleveland. They don't have anybody. Hillis Hardesty is out. So if you need somebody in spot starter, Ogbonnaya is someone that you can gamble on for week 10. But don't expect a ton, but at least he's a starter. Okay? Let's go on to wide receivers. The first one you want to watch is Vincent Brown. Just keep an eye on Vincent Brown, somebody that I'm just monitoring right now. He's an interesting rookie in San Diego. Next, you have Early Doucette in Arizona, but really you're going to have to wait for, you really need to wait for Cobb to come back for him to be super relevant, but he's putting up consistent numbers every week, and if you really need somebody, Early Doucette would be someone to keep an eye on. And also Emmanual Sanders. Keep an eye on Hines Ward injury. That concussion will probably keep him out next week, so Emmanuel Sanders would be someone that's very interesting. Obviously in past weeks we've talked about Antonio Brown. That has been a wonderful waiver wire pickup. I don't even have to tell you he's a grab. Hopefully he's probably not even on waiver wires. But Emmanuel Sanders right now is a watch, and keep an eye on Hines Ward. And then let's move on to spot starters. Jacoby Ford is connecting with Carson Palmer. So as Carson Palmer has come back and taken over for Oakland, we've talked about him in the past. Carson Palmer was someone to pick up. But Jacoby Ford is putting up those numbers that we're looking for. Jacoby Ford is coming into his own and has a lot of upside. So that would be a spot starter for me. And then also Plaxico Burress. He's just a big target for Sanchez, and he's an end zone target as well. So as a spot starter during the bye weeks, Plaxico Burress is someone that you can gamble on. And then finally, tight end. I talk about him every week. You're tired of hearing about him, but I told you he was going to get in the end zone. That's Jake Ballard. Jake Ballard is definitely somebody that you can pick up and use as your tight end from the Giants. He gets targeted a lot. He's a big target and has that end zone potential. So Jake Ballard, I know you're done hearing about that, but that's your tight end. Okay, you can give me questions. First place to ask questions is on Facebook, facebook.com/Hatty Waiver Guru. Go there, ask questions. If you're not into Facebook, maybe you're into Google+. I have a Google+ page. You can go to hattywaiverwireguru.com. I've got a link there for Google+, and you can ask a question on Google+. So Google+, Facebook, those are your choices for questions. I'll answer them there. And then also I've got your weekly rankings for you. Those will be up this week, and then a deep sleeper article for even deeper sleepers, like those watches that we're talking about. Check out previous videos. That's a lot of picks. Good luck in week 10. Let's keep kicking some butt.